My name is James Breen. I'm local here in Tucson, owner of Dreadnought Radio. Do a little bit of short story writing. Recently I've been doing more radio plays, and I just love coming up with ways to kill people who I think would just irritate the hell out of my characters. So.
My name's Eric Flint. I have, as of right now, I have published, it's either 49 or 50 novels, I'm not sure which. And of those 49 or 50 novels, there's exactly one in which I didn't kill anyone.
Was it a murder mystery?
No, it was a science fiction, hard SF adventure, and the gag there was, for those of you familiar with Baen books, has been a running gag for years of authors killing off Joe Buckley. Joe Buckley is a real fan. He lives in Boston, and the tradition got started many years ago. I have killed off Joe Buckley twice in gruesome ways, and the gag in this novel was that we kept Joe Buckley alive through 4 catastrophic accidents. But to keep the spirit of the story proper, we didn't kill anybody else.
You know, 40 years from now, there are going to be panels at WorldCon arguing about this our typical trickster figure named Joe Buckley that everyone thinks. Who was he? I'm Seanan Mcguire. I am the official syphilis stabber. It is an appointed position. I was appointed by John Scalzi. The only way that you can take that position in my badge from me is to meet me in the Murder Dome. You want to do that, and I like killing people.
Hi, I'm Weston, Ochse. I've written 26 books, and Billy Pickett has been killed in every single one of them. For those of you who want to know who Billy Pickett is, he's a guy who beat me up when I was in 5th grade. that fucker was 6 feet tall, and I was just a regular 5th grader. So I wasn't able to get back at him then, but I've been killing him off in new and efficient ways ever since.
Hi, I'm Yvonne Navarro. I've written 20-something books. Been killing people in every one of them with monsters and supernatural and all kinds of fun stuff. And the pharmacist who dumped me, his name was Howard, and I killed him in my very first novel.
Aww.
But at first I made him really like ginormously fat and ugly and unlikable, just to really dig it in.
There's nothing psychologically wrong with us.
The title of the panel, and as a scrupulous moderator, I'll see to it we stick to it. There will be no panel drift here.
No panel drift.
I think there has been exactly one panel in the history of science fiction fandom that did not wander off topic. There's at least a rumor that
wasn't that the panel about panel drift?
So anyway, the title of this one is My Favorite Way to Kill Off Characters. So we will, starting from that end, please explain what your favorite way is of killing off a character and why.
I think I like to burn them alive. You know, it's just because it's so fast, and because I had an angel do it to an evil shaman once, and she just basically embraced him and just burned him alive, and it was medium fast, and it was kind of smelly and smoky. It was good.
So first you flay the skin. Then you drag them on gravel behind a slow-moving car. That's my favorite.
I like diseases.
No.
I know, right? No one is surprised. And the nice thing about that is it's the gift that keeps on giving, right? Like, you can all run away from a fire, well, you've taken the disease with you. And you can only really drag one person at a time behind a normal-sized car, 3 if you've got a big-haul trucker. But I can infect the entirety of Disney World with immunodepressant smallpox in like 6 minutes.
We had the this thing out for Disney World.
Oh, I love Disney World. It's one of my favorite places in the world. But holy shit, bears! That is where the immunity, like we're all gonna die. Disney World is where it begins. Because in July in Disney World, everyone flocks all the time to these misters that they have set up in front of various places. All of the misters draw their water from the same Disney-controlled reservoir. The Disney-controlled reservoir can be accessed through the back road that runs between them.
I don't think somebody thought this out.
There's a gate. To get to the gate, you have to turn left as you're heading down the access road toward Epcot. When you reach the gate, it's November now, so the current passcode.
You just have to go like this.
Yes, exactly. Like it is so easy to do. It's not quite as easy as getting to the snake pit, but Disney has their own on-property snake pit. I got to go to the snake pit
He's writing all this.
it was amazing. So yeah, Disney World is like, I can destroy humanity if you just give me 15 minutes and a small vial.
And we're concerned about people getting on planes.
We need to keep Sean and Barry
And
happy.
I'm sitting next to
As long as you're between me and her, I'm good.
Circle, dot, dot. Now you've got your cootie shot.
Ironically, I don't actually particularly enjoy killing characters. No, I don't. I have a very low body count of major characters. I've actually really, in those same 49 or 50 books, I've only killed less than a handful. Although I still get fans mad at me for every single one of them. Fans will always tell you got to kill off major characters. Yeah, but then you do it, and they never forgive you for it.
Well, that's because you killed off their favorite character.
Well, my problem is specific. Because of the kind of books I write, a lot of them have major battle scenes in it. And that means I've got to figure out battle scenes. And my wife can always tell because you say, oh, you're grouchy. You've got to write another battle scene. And it's because you've got to figure out a way to kill off a whole bunch of people. And it's got to be different from every other way you've done it. And it's kind of tricky to do it. And what I find is what I'm really most looking for is certain emotional impact, not the exact actual way I'm killing someone off. What's going to determine what I do is the second time I killed Joe Buckley, I killed him in one novel of 1632 series rather heroically. He's fighting against the maniac and he gets, strangled. The second time, I want to kill off Joe Buckley in the same series. This is tricky. So the second Joe Buckley was a highwayman, but just because I wanted to give Joe a hard time, because he is a friend of mine, I had him be a notorious highwayman who got drunk and fell off the pier and drowned in the Thames. Very ignominious. So that's part of a joke, because the cover of that book is it's a takeoff of the anatomy lesson by Rembrandt, and the corpse is Joe Buckley. He sent a photograph of himself lying flat to the artist, so the artist can draw him. And all the characters in the cover illustration are different Bain authors who have killed off Joe Buckley.
Can I cause very brief panel drift? Why the hell is Bain killing Joe Buckley? Like, what happened? There was a bet.
There are different stories as to how it got started. One story is that he beat David Weber in a game of spades and David never forgave him. Another story, which David claims is a real one, is that Joe Buckley caught him in an error in one of his novels, and in retaliation, David Weber killed him off. However it got started, it then just became a running joke. So John Ringo decided to kill him off, and he did it several different ways. And then it just, one author after another started doing it.
That's fantastic.
And it just became a kind of house custom. And if you're going to be an established Bain author, you've got to kill off Joe Buckley sooner or later. And so I killed him off in two stories. And then, like I said, Reich and I kept them alive through a whole trilogy. And it's just a joke. I mean, it's literally a house gag, but Baen is the only publisher that really has its own fan base and hangs around and discusses, so they're all in on it. And fortunately, Joe himself, he's from Boston. He's got a real thick Boston accent. He's in on the joke. So he plays part of it. It's just a lot of fun.
That's
all.
great.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry for the panel drift. I just really wanted to know, and you kept bringing it up.
Yeah, no, so that's how that happens. So you have to give some thought to how you're going to kill off Joe Buckley. It's usually done very, very gruesome.
This is really the Joe Buckley panel.
Yeah. But in other deaths I've done, what I'm usually trying to do is figure out a way that's going to dramatically heighten the scene. So the specific way the character dies, I don't know how to put this. I'm not looking so much for the way they die as for one of my favorite ones, for instance, to give you an idea, is I've got a battle scene in which the general is talking to his aide because he's losing control of the battle and he really wants the aide to do something, and the aide gets shot in the head. And the general starts cursing him because he got killed, goddammit, and now he can't do what he wants him to do. It's that kind of thing. You just figure out something that makes it striking. What's hard to do, honestly, is not make it. There's only so many ways you can kill somebody, honestly. And I know if you're just thinking of casual homicide, it doesn't occur to you, but when you're killing people off wholesale, which is what authors tend to do, you have to start thinking of how many different ways can I bump somebody off, because your fucking fans will follow this. They'll catch you if you just file off the serial numbers, and they will give you a hard time about it. Anyway.
Okay. I like to do it in one of two ways. Number one, make them walk the plank at 20,000 feet. Tends to do the job pretty well. But if it's someone who's really just irritated and pissed off one of my characters, it's torture. I had one where, guy and his sister had been murdered, caught the murderer, spent 2 weeks drilling tiny holes into his kneecaps and into the joints and his fingers, and then eventually dosed him with a bunch of LSD, threw him in a coffin, and buried him alive. So exotic torture is probably my favorite. The walk the plank at 20,000 feet, that's just expedient.
I will say, though, I need the deaths in my fiction and in other people's fiction to fit the setting and not violate the rules of the universe. Yep. Have you seen Jurassic World?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Jurassic World, it's the 4th movie in this franchise. There was also a cartoon, which had a surprisingly high body count for being on Saturday mornings at 8:30 a.m. And, the 2 books, obviously, that it was based on. People have died in every single work of Jurassic Park fiction. That is part and parcel of having a theme park filled with dinosaurs. The only death that has actually made me uncomfortable enough to break me out of the story, to take me away from being at Jurassic Park, was Zara the babysitter in Jurassic World. She's picked up by a pterodon, dropped into the mosasaur pit, pushed under and pulled out of the water repeatedly. She's essentially waterboarded by a dinosaur, which is not what I signed up for, and then eaten alive by the mosasaur.
Is she actually eaten by the mosasaur? I couldn't
She
tell.
is actually eaten by the mosasaur because she was still hanging from the pterodon.
pterodon.
And here's the thing, though. Every other death in the Jurassic Park franchise, even the deaths of the villains who are there to exploit the dinosaurs, who have earned a certain level of retribution, every other death has either been very quick or primarily off-screen. Even the big human bad guy for this particular movie, we see him reaching for the raptor, and then we see the blood hit the wall. We don't dwell on it. Zara's death would not have bothered me in a horror movie. I watch a lot of horror movies. That is tame for the sort of thing that happens in a lot of movies I watch. But it was so out of proportion for the Jurassic Park franchise and for what she had earned.
Yeah, she hadn't done anything.
That it bothered me very viscerally.
I remember the second time I saw the movie. First time I didn't really catch it. Second time, I couldn't quite see what happened, so I thought, well, maybe she didn't get killed. I couldn't quite, because it all does happen pretty fast.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, they must have had her survive, but then she never shows back up in the movie. The death that bothered me in the movie, and this is because it's the reason that my wife often hates going to movies with me, is because I tend to be obsessive about, does this plot make sense? And the killing in Jurassic World that I emotionally enjoyed but really irritated me was when the mosasaur leaps out of its tank and kills the monster. Now, of course, this isn't great because the monster gets killed, and I'm partial to mosasaurs because I made mosasaurs an actual character in a movie, in a book of mine. But would any theme park create a tank where a mosasaur jump out and snap somebody up? I mean, why isn't there a fucking railing?
I had not thought of the lack of a railing. So
It
that
bothered me.
No, that would bother me too. So we have one death that doesn't work with the plot. Logically, there
Right.
should not have been an easy access for the mosasaur, and one death that doesn't work with the
It
franchise.
doesn't work dramatically, no.
Yeah, if I'm reading one of your books and everyone that's died has been shot in the head because it's a bullets war. It's very clean. It's a bullets war.
It's the reason I stopped reading Edgar Rice Burroughs' John Carter of Mars book, is because I'm going to ruin these books for everybody. Everybody always gets stabbed through the heart.
That's not easy to do.
It's the only way anybody gets killed in a John Carter is he gets stabbed through the heart, and after 4 books, it drove me nuts. It's like, huh?
It's not true. Cecil died by suicide by jumping off of flying boats.
Is that before
all right,
or after
okay,
the end of book 4?
okay, all right, all right.
That's never a combat. That's
Right.
Yeah, I'm thinking of combat. It's always stabbed through the heart. It's not, which is, by the way, not an easy way to kill
No,
somebody.
it's really hard to stab someone in the heart.
It is. You gotta go through the sternum. Nobody gets their head cut off. Nobody bleeds out. Nothing. It's always a stab to the heart. I'm finally fed up with it. Yeah.
You were saying that